Hello, everybody. Welcome to another segments of Education for a Better World. I'm your host, Abdi Lajavardi, and I am delighted today to have a dear friend and a colleague, Professor Sanjiva Dubey, with us from Delhi, India. Welcome, Sanjeev. Thank you for being on our show. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are, as I mentioned, delighted to have Sanjiva with us. Professor Sanjiva, maybe you can share with us a little bit about you. I mean, I am delighted to know you, but for our audience, maybe you can introduce yourself and give us a little background on your journey to this point.
All right. So thank you, Abdi, and very pleased to be here in your show and be of help to our viewers and listeners and learners. My journey has not been very spectacular. I consider myself as a student who started maybe 35 years ago. I did my engineering, then started to work in the IT sector. In the technical area, as we all start this coding, and my mother tongue was COBOL and mainframe. So that's how I started. But in between, I did my master's in management from one of the amongst top four institutes in India called XLRI, Xavier Labor Relation Institute. It's a 70 years old institute in India. And when I did my master's, I realized that not only technology is enough, but you need to also find where the technology can be applied. And that is where the bridging of the gap comes back, where we need to bridge the requirements with the opportunity. And that's an area where I started to work. I was very fortunate that after I graduated, I started getting teaching assignments. So while I have worked in the corporate in companies like Tata and IBM for about 35 years, I also have a 30 years teaching and academic experience. Not 100%, but mostly I was a visiting weekend professor. I have taught around 10,000 students. I have written 16 books, and I enjoy sharing my thoughts with the youngsters and colleagues. So this in short, I live in Delhi. I've got a family, a wife and children, and I have now grandchildren.
So, wonderful, and full of energy and excitement. And I can tell you, you guys are going to get to know Professor Sanjiva more, but he's a very modest individual, as he definitely has made a lot of achievement in technology and in education in his career. So let us tap into your perspective on teaching, something that you have done for many years. So you have enjoyed it. And again, it's very impressive, the number of individuals that you have trained over your career and the number of books that you have authored. So in your career, all this schooling that you have gone through and all the professors that you have had to work with over the years, so you have some insight. What is it that professors and teachers along, can do to make their classes more exciting and more, engaging for their students? Is there any advice you can give us?
So it's a very pertinent question, Abdi, you have asked. And when I started teaching, in fact, as a professor, and initially, and I went to a senior in my institute, I said, "Tell me the secret, tell me the secret of this." He said, "Look, as long as you want to perform, you are going to be a teacher. So the first of all, you have to mesmerize your audience and engage them. Then only you will be able to convey some thoughts and some content. Because in the current world, the Google and the search engines give you all the content of the world. Okay. So for that, people are not coming. They are coming to you. Your students are coming to you. How are you going to engage them? You are teaching less, but you are explaining them the wisdom behind that concept so that they can apply. Your job as a faculty would be to make your students succeed in their life. So you are basically providing them the tool chest, and this tool chest will have various arsenal. It may be fundamentals, it may be a framework, maybe a diagnostic tool or a software, whatever. But basically, you are helping them to understand which one to use. I mean, I'll give you a very simple example. I was taking a class of the very, very senior bureaucrats in India only last week, this week on Tuesday. And I was explaining a tool to engage in the class, how to conduct the poll, and from poll to convert the word cloud. Okay. And somebody raised the hand, and I think a lady said, he said, but it does not give me the graph. I said, look, like in your tool chest, you will have a small screwdriver, you will have a hammer, you will have a chisel. You have to use one which is more appropriate. So like in the class, we might take sometimes a pause to ask a question. Sometimes we may get an activity. Sometimes we ask them to just to speak out and then provide a summary or use the appropriate tool. So to summarize, my keyword would be 3 keywords, okay? Engage, engage, engage.
Wonderful, wonderful. Great advice, great advice. And again, you mentioned something that, I hear over and over again from, wonderful educators like yourself, that really this day and age, you have plenty of information available through all the search engines, through all how globally everything is connected and available readily at people's fingertips. But in reality, the roles of educators and teachers are changing. And it is how to use the appropriate knowledge and the application of that knowledge in the direction that they are really looking for. And I think that's extremely important. And then what you mentioned about having that passion and that excitement about being a teacher and wanting to make a difference in people's world, it's really important. So thank you for sharing that with us. Now, you have been an administrator, and you currently are actually a dean of a very prestigious college in India, and you are engaged in a number of wonderful programs that we have talked about. So I want to give you an opportunity to kind of tell us a little bit about what you are doing currently in your role as a dean of the college. And at the same time, maybe you can share with us what are some of the things that administrators can do to be a better support for their teachers and students and create a more dynamic environment.
I think it's a very, very last 2 years to 2+ years, as you know, the entire humanity, all educators have faced a very, very difficult situation where the COVID has stopped our travel, face-to-face class, and so on. So I will start with a small anecdote that around this month's 2020, when the lockdown was announced in India, and suddenly the Prime Minister said, tomorrow onwards, there will be a lockdown, and it was a shock to everyone. Now, while everybody was sitting at home, I decided that whatever little knowledge I have of online teaching, I should start imparting to my colleagues at my institute. So I started running a course every 1 hour, every day. Initially, only 5 people came because most of them believed that this is going to go away in a couple of weeks' time, and we cannot teach online. So we started pushing them, and then they started liking it. And it's like water hitting the shores of a bank and then eroding the earth. Okay. So the same way as an educator, we have to keep on trying, keep on trying. So when we did that, in 2 months' time, when the entire faculty got trained, the chairman of my board, and she calls me up one day, he says, I heard about you and that you had taken this initiative. Why don't you start an online education? And I said, okay, ma'am, we'll start. And 6 months' time, we started a online MBA program, which is running in the 3rd batch now. We have got about 500 students. And it's a very hybrid model. Some classes are recorded, some lot of things have been done. But the most important part of this activity is that this crisis has given us a opportunity to try something for the benefit of the mankind. Now, I'm not considering these 500 students are giving some revenue to my institute or some faculty remuneration. I'm considering that these 500 students, their lives are going to be changed because of this initiative. So as educators, we also have to look at the larger picture. After all, we are a humanity. We are not animals, we are human beings. So we have to look at the larger perspective, sustainability, and the quality of life, and reaching out to those segments of the society which is underserved. So this online education is a potent tool, and people are realizing it that not everybody can take a full-time course, and people who are working, they have family, they have got a small business, perhaps their knowledge level can be improved. So this is what I am doing it today. I am very happy doing it, and it has been a struggle because last year was very, very difficult year. There was in India, there was a lot of second wave, third wave, and all that. So we conducted it, but by we call it the grace of God, who helps someone. God also helps someone who tries. Okay, so we tried and we got successful.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, thank you for sharing that. Now, what are some of the things that you as an administrator, look for in both hiring the faculty into your team, and then what are some of the elements that you provide as an ongoing support for your faculty? And again, especially in an online environment, versus the classroom where people see each other all the time. They run into each other during, on the hallways and what you have. So being online, how do you provide that support? Well, maybe we start off with looking at, when you are looking to bring somebody online, what are some of the things that you look for as far as the faculties to select for your institution?
Actually, last 2 years, I had had about a dozen plus minus one or two faculty for online. And one of the things which I found was useful, and I will not say that all the hirings were good, because once you hire something based on the credential, the online is a very difficult environment. But the one thing which has helped me, that those people who were willing to unlearn and then relearn themselves are far better candidate in this environment. If you say, no, this is the way I will just teach, and I will just repeat the same thing, so it will not work. Okay. So, there is a famous saying that medium is the message. Okay. And the Canadian philosopher, who I may be forgetting his name, Malcolm Marshall, and he said that, look, and his observation was more for the movies and so on, but is very apt in the online, because this medium which we are choosing, if we use this medium more effectively, then our message quality gets improved. For example, if I don't have a good lighting in this room, then this video will not look good. If right. my speaker is not good, or my mic is not good, my content will get lost. Okay, so two things I look at in the faculty. The first one is that desire to learn, and then speed. Okay, it says that you have to be speed as well as accuracy. So you have to have faster speed. If you are very laid back, and if you say, okay, I've got 3 months to prepare this course, in online it is not there, because the student is posting a comment, and they are expecting an answer maybe in an hour's time. Right. In a offline situation, they will say, oh, today is the holiday, so faculty will come on Monday, so I will go to the knock at their room. That is not the case in the forum somebody has placed. So what we have done as an administrator is that we have put together some young bunch of technical administrators or technical assistants, research scholars, and younger people. They help the faculty, they flag off, because faculties are generally age-wise, some of them are not very tech-savvy. So that gap is built by these technical assistants. They help them in recording their videos. They help them in putting in the platform, doing the animation work. They also help them in query resolution. So let's say somebody who is working with me, after 6 months, And she starts saying that, oh, that query has come, and because you have said so, so I have answered the same thing. Was it okay? Most of the time it is okay, because they are asking some trivial things like which book to refer, which chapter to refer. So in this online, having I attended a program last year of Harvard from VG Narayan and the other guy, and they have also followed the same logic. So you provide a younger people who will do the front ending, so that the expert, the faculty, his time or her time is saved, and that becomes more effective for the students. I am trying to create a chatbot for him, okay, Abdi. And I have this chatbot. I will type in with you. And chatbot is already has come for my course called ETIM BIMTech. You in the Facebook chat window, you can go and type. There is a chatbot called Eva. She starts giving some trivial answer.
Yes.
Well, it can only work in the online environment, and something new and new things we need to try.
No, absolutely. Some of these actually technological advancements, such as AI, is going to help a lot with being a tool for both the institution as well as the educators. Answering more of what you consider to be most common questions that individuals have. But as you mentioned, having faculties that is really engaged with the students and adopting to the new media is very important, because the time is not what it is when you are on a on-site, normal institutions. People need just in time education. That what we were talking about, 24/7 concept, is really something that online education needs to be more in tune with. So now I want to switch and ask you, to put your hat on from your, experience as an employer, looking at, hiring people on board as graduates of various institutions. You have had a distinguished career working with a number of the large institutions in India, IBM, one that you spearhead number of different projects for. When you look for graduates to bring on board as entry-level individuals, being programmers, engineers, managers, what are some of the things that you expect from them? And it is something that can help not only our students that are continuing and finishing up their education, but institution as well, to help best prepare their graduates so they are more job ready at the time of the graduations.
Oh, so Mr. Rajavardi, I have had about 1,000 plus masters, MBA graduates in my 25 years of career with IBM. And I have got a formula, not formula, but an acronym which I use. I say I will only hire a child, okay, from the campus. Now, what is a child? The child is those guys who are curious to know new and new things, okay? Let me ask, I will ask that question to them, do you know what is happening? Now, if this guy is not aware of about environment, what is not happening in the real sense. So first is he has to be curious. The second, the person should be honest, okay? Because if you do not know, you should say so. Don't try to give some fake answer, or just try to pretend that you know. Because the moment you're honest and you say I do not know, you have opened up a window to know, because you have realized that you do not know. Then the third is the CHI. I is the guy has got is involved. He's involved in the process, involved in the organization. He can be trusted, for doing certain things. Has he shown any ability or past track record of being involved? And the other thing which I asked them, that what have you learned last day or last week, last month? What new things you have learned? And finally, the last word of the child is D. Have you delivered? Have you got any output? Okay. Have you done something, or you're just soaking up anything and nothing is coming out. Now, in the organization, we need people. We do not need people with lots of knowledge. We need people who are able to deliver. A person who has got less knowledge, but he can find out where to find out and then delivers it or help the client to succeed. I took a graduate from a management institute, very prestigious management institute, and he had a humanities background. Okay, and he started to work in the IT consulting company. I said, and he wanted to do. I said, look, you don't fear about the technology, but wherever we are implementing technology, to try to find out what are the human angle, what are the cultural angle. Maybe you can look at from that point of view. And he was a very successful guy. And of course, he turned entrepreneur and he runs a very, his name popped up because I just saw his post in LinkedIn and Facebook of his daughter graduating from one of the US university. And I said, I'm trusting you. I'm trusting you if as long as you are willing to learn. And this is an angle of technology. Projects are always neglected. We don't look at the human side. We don't look at the cultural side. And ultimately the project fails. So child, be a child, hire a child, because the child is something who can be molded. If someone who comes with his strong ideas and then they have got a lot of ego, child doesn't have ego. You know that? Child doesn't have ego. Okay. Even if he get hurt tomorrow, he will come and so something. Most of us who want to come, if you are having that kind of ego that I only know something and why have you told me so, then ultimately the organization will reject you because you are not helping the organization, or you're not helping the client or the organization.
Thank you very much. That is a wonderful advice, and something that, I think a lot of people will take from both from students that are graduating and thinking about, applying for jobs in the future, to keep that in mind, as well as our institutions around the world, how to prepare the graduates so they can be more successful. And thank you for that insight. Now, can I ask you your opinion about what do you think about mentorship and how that has played a role in your life, having mentor for you and then mentoring other people over your careers?
Actually, I come from a land, India, which has got a very, very strong and very long tradition of mentor-mentee relationship, and then we in India say that if you have to choose between God and the mentor, choose the mentor, because mentor is the one who has told you where is the God. Okay, so that's a saying. So we have got a very great respect of doing it, and somehow people approach the mentor, just for getting a problem solved. Get me admission, get me the job. No, that you try to emulate what the mentor is carrying in his shoulder. Maybe if some pearls from that wisdom, some mannerism, some traits, if you can pick up, that is going to help you. Now, in reality, how do we institutionalize or we operationalize this mentor and mentee relationship? First of all, the mentee has to be willing to be mentored. Okay, and he has to say that, look, I want to be mentored, and the second is obviously the mentor has to find some time. There are a lot of people who are interested in mentoring. I was running a very large mentorship program for IBM, and I have mentored and I had designed a mechanism of a structured mentoring. Structured mentoring means that we sit with the mentee, we create some kind of milestone and goals, we look at some initial analysis, and we say, okay, fine, these are the 3 areas we'll work. We'll pick up this. Next 3 weeks time, you come back with. So you start measuring that, not a freewheeling kind of mentorship that one day I call up Abdi and Sanjiva and say, oh, I have got this problem. No, that doesn't help. Maybe it helps as a relationship, but a structured mentoring program, I feel that the management education, which I am connected with, strongly requires this kind of thing. Okay, like it happens in the legal profession. The legal profession, you can't go and practice unless you have been a junior to a very senior lawyer or some advocates and so on. Medical profession, the same thing. You internship for several years under the head of the sort of surgeon or something. In management, we don't do it. Maybe we need to change, and that's where our job is. Our task is still remains that how we can institutionalize the mentor. I'm just visualizing, Abdi, that if we can bring some of the relationship all of us have in the industry and the academics, I am willing to connect one-on-one, or
Yeah,
maybe one.
I think that is actually the core of what many institutions really can do for their team as educators, as well as actually train students from early on with these concepts of mentorship. And the more structured it is, I think the better it's going to work. It can't be just on like a transaction, like you said. So whenever I am stuck somewhere, I can call somebody and say, hey, come and help me over here. Well, maybe that person is not available, But if it's a structure, if it's a benchmarking in a sense, I think mentoring can work in a tremendous way. And if it is incorporated in the institutions, both for the staff and the students, can pay dividends for all the schools. And I can tell you from the schools that I have visited or I have been associated with, the ones that have a strong mentorship programs, they are continuously, growing, and they're having graduates that they are very happy and successful in what they do. So I appreciate your feedback on that, please.
And just wanted to add here on a lighter note, I feel that whatever I am nothing but the parts of the wisdom I have picked up from various mentors. So when I'm talking to you like this, I remember some of the utterances, some of the feedback from my mentor Raj in IBM, or Jack in Tata, or someone in some other place. They have ingrained in me. I'm zero. I am sum total of all the people who are my father, for example, my mother, for example. They have also mentored them. My school teacher. Okay. Many times when I take the class, I start the first time, I say, today, don't remember me. Remember your kindergarten teacher, if you recall, okay? And thank her because of her, you are here.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Well said.
She has mentored.
Well said. Thank you so much for that insight, because there are a number of people that make major impact in our life, and to recognize those individuals, to go back and connect with them and thank them for what they have contributed. Not that they need our thank, because they are who they are, not only toward us, but toward whoever they come in contact with. But it gives them that excitement and momentum to continue doing what they're doing. And well said. So my next question comes in. Again, we're talking about graduates and how best to prepare them for the workforce. And that's what education is for, to open up and create a better world for everybody. And part of that comes in with this idea of internship. What do you think about internship, and how could institution go about creating more effective internship for their students and graduates?
I think the next step is that whether in the mentor-mentee relationship, you have got some periodic interaction. In the case of internship, especially the younger people, you are deputing them to work under the guidance of someone for 3 months, 2 months, whatever time is available, where you are doing a dedicated piece of work under the guidance of someone. And that piece of work, when I'm talking to this, I'm remembering my first internship of engineering, where I was asked to do the variety reduction of some components in an automobile plant, okay, which was a Daimler collaboration in India, okay. So Daimler-Benz collaboration. And that I remember it after 35 years, because that's the time I had full of energy, full of enthusiasm, and this person helped me. Now, I would feel that internship should be beneficial to both the industry as well as the students. Not just putting a tick mark that, yeah, he has completed internship. But the industry can identify a good candidate before even reaching out to the interview. Okay. So this guy works, the intern comes and works. We have taken few interns and we regularly take the interns, and I find that their output is far superior than someone who joins full time. Because when you join full time, you become little complacent. But the intern has got a deadline. You have to submit a report. They have to work on doing it. So my take and advice to industry would be to go all out and then welcome interns, and don't worry about that. These interns will come and then take away our secrets. After all, they are going to learn something, and they might be contributing to for your success.
Thank you for and I think a lot of it goes into what you indicated in regards to the mentorship, having a structure, right? Because you hear some people from employer side have some of those concerns that like you said, individual will come in and will take our time and our energy, our secrets, and they walk away, and what benefit do we get, right? So that's one thing. There are some employee or union advocates that they feel like these individuals are coming and really taking away jobs and opportunity from other individuals that want to work in the environment, and because they are not paid or paid very minimal, then the company is benefiting from only. And then they are perspective on the students that they say, I went to a internship and all I ended up doing was serving coffee and copying papers, but it didn't have nothing to do with my engineering experience or management experience or anything like that. And a lot of it comes in because it's not a structure. And if the institutions and the organizations that are engaging into internship create a structure where we can address those issues and make sure that we can maximize this experience, I feel it can be tremendously beneficial, not only to the institution and the students, but to the companies as well. And I think this is what we all need to have in that collaborations to come together. What do you think about that? And I know you have had some experiences. Can you give us some, maybe 2 or 3 things as advice that how good, well put together internship should look like?
All right. So I think the idea which immediately came to my mind, and maybe I don't want to wait for this broadcast to be over, is said that I am willing and happy to create a small capsule for how to conduct structured mentoring for pro education. Okay. And basically, why do we take internship is that we want some fresh ideas. We want someone who is fresh from the college, is institute, and they're bubbling with ideas, bubbling with trying out a lot of new things. We want to get the fresh idea from them, who has got unconcerned, they are unbiased, and they are not constrained with the current situation. So for this organization, what is the benefit? They are getting that kind of benefit. What is the intern benefit? Intern is able to apply something, and he does not have any risk of failure. Okay, because nobody is going to castigate him, or nobody is her, or do something wrong, because they are supposed to try something new. Now, for the question which you raised, that the unions and others have that kind of concern, basically they should not be concerned. If you look at both the organization as well as the individual, we are part of a larger society. Okay. So as a society, unless we train these people, and these people may go and work in some other company, maybe they will start of their own. In Indian government, a few years ago, they started a very good program. They said, big companies must take internship, so many internships. Okay. Because, and then government said, we will fund you. We will give you some part of this, their stipend or something like that. Because while that company may not absorb them, their training and learning can lead to SMEs or medium sector, and maybe they can start some of their job. So I think it's we need to be some kind of conviction from the industry side why they want to take the mentors, and we are very willing to help. We can put together a program for structured mentorship and then maybe guide them. I've got a lot of tools and templates that can be shared. Maybe they can make it themselves, but that will be a beneficial for the organization. They can measure the ROI, they can measure the benefit without getting any problem for, let's say, employment erosion or something like that.
No, I appreciate that very much, and I would definitely look forward addressing that with you on future programs. But I do feel very strongly about both mentorship and externship, because I believe both of these tools are so powerful. We're talking about more of graduates that are in higher education, but I have seen even at the elementary schools, in your high schools, it can play a very important role. There is never too early to talk about mentorship or even externship, because in a different appropriate way institution can put certain things together that can help their students to be more successful, and we really learn from each other. Your experiences can help me and others that I have had as a pleasure on my show. I can tell you I have become more enriched on inside of what I can now be able to share with others. And I am very thankful to you and your presence on this show, as I'm sure our audience have enjoyed your wisdom and your sharing of your knowledge. So I want to ask you if you have any message or information that you want to share with our audience. And thank you very much again for your time and your participation on Education for a Better World podcast.
So as a final comment, I would only tell my listeners and viewers that the God has given all of us 24 hours, okay, in a day. We should try to maximize the use of this 24 hours for basically three things. One, to learn. Second is to enjoy. And third is to do something for the society, okay? Do something for the society. So if we can balance all the three, this Indian custom says, there's four things to be balanced. That after all, if we can spend our day better, my week becomes better. My week becomes better, then my months become better. Don't wait for a very longer period. You plan your day and then spend your day, find out what you have learned, what gainful thing you have done, and then of course what also you have done for the society or your community, okay? You don't or environment, whatever. So that's the way one can do. And I am very much thankful for being here, for inviting me, and look forward meeting you again.
Absolutely, I'm delightful. Again, I appreciate your presence, and I appreciate your friendship and collaboration. I look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you so much.